court Tuesday gave the green light to switch on 2 more nuclear reactors despite heavy public opposition and the latest victory for the government's pro-atomic push. Yes. Residents in the area unsuccessfully argued that the utility had not taken enough measures to prevent an accident linked to a natural disaster. Much of the public in Japan remains wary of nuclear power after the disaster at Fukushima spewed radiation over a large area and forced tens of thousands to leave their homes, with some unlikely to ever return. Last week, Japan's Nuclear Energy Agency said 5 more employees were exposed to dangerously high levels of radiation after a bag containing plutonium broke apart during a routine inspection. Nonetheless, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has aggressively promoted nuclear energy in his country, calling it essential to powering the world's 3rd largest economy. From Japan to Pennsylvania. Abnormally dangerous? Pennsylvania court refuses to stop drilling under oil refinery's huge gas tank. A state appeals court has refused to revoke a permit granted by Donald Trump's and Scott Pruitt's EPA for oil drilling underneath an oil refinery. Is it abnormally dangerous to drill and frack for oil under a massive oil refinery, particularly if that well is bored beneath a tank filled with 3.6 million gallons of gasoline? Okay, from Pennsylvania to North Korea. North Korea says U.S. student released on humanitarian grounds. North Korea released U.S. student Otto Warmbier on, quote, humanitarian grounds. North Korean state media said Thursday, 2 days after falling into a coma while imprisoned in a labor camp. The 22-year-old University of Virginia student from Cincinnati spent more than a year in North Korean detention after being arrested for stealing a political poster from a hotel. His family have said he was terrorized and brutalized by Little Maggot Kim Jong-un's regime. And of course he has some severe neurological disorder. Anyway, let's go from North Korea just back to our own country here in the last few days of springtime as thoughts turn to summer vacation, or maybe not. Summer vacation? Lots of Americans say they just can't afford it. Frequent flyer miles, last-minute getaways, and even road trips. Nearly half of Americans say they will not be taking any vacation this summer, mostly because they cannot afford it. According to this AP poll, 43% of Americans will not be taking a summer vacation. The top reason for skipping vacation this year was the cost, cited by 49%. Another 11% said they just can't take the time off from work, and 3% said they don't like being away from work. And I liked this finding from the poll. Most Americans do use at least some of their paid time off if they even have the option, but many still leave their paid vacation days on the table. 14% of workers who get paid vacation time off from their jobs did not use any of the days they had coming to them. And just half of those with paid vacation time used up all or most of the days they were entitled to in the past year. Moving along. I don't know whether this can be lumped into summer vacation or not. This is Mexican immigrants on vacation. Border Patrol arrests immigrants seeking medical care during desert heat wave. The arrest, which activists say violates an agreement to allow humanitarian aid workers to conduct emergency medical care for immigrants, could drive border crossers deeper into the desert. Border Patrol agents on Thursday arrested 4 undocumented immigrants receiving emergency medical care at an encampment run by humanitarian activists a few miles north of the Mexican border in Arizona. The arrest came during a heat wave, blah, blah, blah. The camp is run by the group No More Deaths. In a tweet Thursday evening, the organization said, quote, 30 armed Federal Border Patrol agents entered the camp with at least 15 trucks, 2 quads, and a helicopter to apprehend 4 patients receiving care. Okay, from them Mexicans coming over here stealing their jobs. Let's go over to the state of Texas. This story came in right after I finished this rant last week. I'm just going to touch on 2 stories. 2 toddlers die in horrific death after mother intentionally leaves them in her car for 15 hours. 2 toddler sisters died in a car after their mother intentionally left them in a car for more than 15 hours. This is 19-year-old Amanda Hawkins. Hawkins has been named as the Mother of the Year by Kerr County Sheriff W.R. Hierholzer. Yes, quoting the sheriff, "This is by far the most horrific case of child endangerment that I have seen in the 37 years that I have been in law enforcement." And so this is an update on that story out of the great state of Texas, looking at teenage mothers in Texas. Mom accused of leaving children in hot car for 15 hours allegedly said, quote, "They will cry themselves to sleep." The Texas mom charged in the death of her 2 young daughters allegedly told friends to ignore the cries coming from her children in her car, saying they would eventually tire themselves out, according to reports. The vehicle's windows were rolled up as temperatures dipped into the 60s overnight, but by noon the next day, temperatures had climbed to about 85 degrees outside, with the humidity making it feel like 105 degrees, and the girls were left without food, water, or anywhere to use the bathroom for 15 hours. At one point, someone inside the home allegedly heard the girls crying and asked Hawkins to bring them in. Quote, "She said, 'No, it's fine. They will cry themselves to sleep.'" There you go. And unless the and so she's up on, what are the charges? 2 counts of endangering a child. 2 counts of endangering a child, and unless a grand jury decides to upgrade the charges now that the girls have died, if she is found guilty of the charges she presently faces, she could face up to 2 years in prison. And well, my guess is the charges will be upgraded, but how many people out there agree with me that at some point in the future, this clueless fucking bitch will get out of prison and go right on breeding? This fucking bitch deserves to die. And not only will she not die, even in the state of Texas, she will sure as shit not get sterilized. There is a better chance, matter of fact, that she will die in the electric chair than getting sterilized. Okay, from Mother of the Year to Daycare Worker of the Year, or Daycare Workers of the Year in this case. 5-year-old dies after being left in daycare van in Arkansas. This is 4 employees at a daycare center in West Memphis, Arkansas, were fired Wednesday following the death of a 5-year-old boy who was left unattended inside a company van all day. Christopher Gardner Jr. was found dead inside a van at the Ascent Children's Health Services facility. Yep, on the day of the incident, the facility's van picked up Christopher in the early morning from his home. However,